Man, seriously, just getting out of bed today felt like running a marathon in wet jeans. If you're feeling like this dragging, utterly exhausted version of me right now, your host, Stickman, just completely drained, well, what if I told you the secret to curing this relentless fatigue might literally just be one tiny microscopic vitamin? Welcome to today's Explainer, where we're diving into the ultimate energy fix, unlocking vitamin B12. So why are you always so tired? You know the drill. You sleep, you drink way too much coffee, you stare blankly at the wall, but you are still dragging. Well, prepare yourself, because the moment we introduce B12 into the mix, boom. Okay, wow, suddenly I am buzzing. I literally have the energy of a toddler who just found the secret candy stash. Let me tell you, when you actually have enough B12, your body just fires on all cylinders. But to really understand why it makes such a massive difference, we gotta look at what happens when you're running on empty. Enter the main villain of our story, megaloblastic anemia. I know, it sounds like some kind of ancient dinosaur, right? But it's actually this miserable blood condition where your body starts pumping out these abnormally large, super fragile red blood cells. And because they're basically defective out of the gate, they just can't do their job properly, which, you guessed it, leaves you feeling severely fatigued and dangerously weak. This is the very real biological reality of running without enough B12. So how exactly does B12 step in and stop this whole mess? Well, think of it as the ultimate guardian for two incredibly vital systems, your brain and nerves and your red blood cells. B12 actually maintains the protective coating around your nerves to keep them healthy, and it makes sure those blood cells are formed correctly in the first place. It is basically the elite security detail keeping your inner wiring from just totally short-circuiting. And hey, if that wasn't enough for you, we arrive at this absolute mind-blowing fact. B12 is literally required to build your genetic code. Yeah, you heard me right. It is completely required to make the DNA in every single cell of your entire body. Without it, your cells basically just forget how to build themselves. This tiny little vitamin is quite literally written into your genetic code. How crazy is that? Section 1. The Great Disappearing Act. Why deficiencies actually happen. Okay, so here is the central mystery of this whole explainer. If B12 is so ridiculously vital to keeping us alive and energized, why are so many people completely running on empty? Where is it all going? Well, it generally comes down to a battle between two major villains. On one side, you have dietary lack, which just means you simply aren't eating enough B12. And on the other side, you've got absorption issues, meaning you are eating it, sure, but your stomach is completely refusing to absorb it. Let's break these down. First up, the diet side. I do have to be just a little bit smug here for a second and remind my beloved vegans and strict vegetarians about a hard biological truth. Vitamin B12 is found naturally only in animal foods. Period. We're talking fish, meat, poultry, eggs, dairy. Plants? They have absolutely zero natural B12 unless they are artificially fortified in a factory somewhere. So if you're eating strictly plant-based, you are automatically in one of the highest risk groups for deficiency. Sorry, don't shoot the messenger, it's just the science. But hey, meat eaters, you can wipe that smirk right off your face because you definitely aren't safe either. To actually absorb the B12 from that steak you just ate, your stomach needs sufficient acid and a very specific protein. But those things can be easily destroyed by a few major blockers. Older age for one, because stomach acid naturally just kind of declines as we get older. Then there are long-term acid-reducing medications, those things for heartburn like PPIs or H2 blockers. And finally, digestive conditions or having had gastrointestinal surgeries. Honestly, if your stomach's factory is broken, you could literally be eating beef liver all day long and still be completely deficient. Section 2. Red flags. Sneaky signs of deficiency. Let's raise the stakes here a bit, because running out of B12 doesn't just mean you need an extra cup of coffee in the afternoon. The physical toll is incredibly uncomfortable and very, very real. So I'm going to challenge you directly right now. Could you be deficient at this exact moment? Listen closely to this next set of symptoms and mentally check the boxes if any of these are hitting just a little too close to home. Let's run through the physical symptoms first. Severe fatigue and weakness, yeah, we covered that one. Constipation, loss of appetite, unexplained weight loss, and soreness of the mouth or tongue? Seriously, a sore tongue? I am literally gagging at the thought of that. Of all the weird ways your body can rebel against you, having your tongue swell up and hurt just because you skipped your vitamins is fundamentally gross. But wait, hold on. As uncomfortable as a sore tongue is, things are about to get significantly darker. Warning, neurological changes ahead. This is where long-term B12 deficiency stops being just a mild annoyance and starts getting genuinely scary.
I am honestly shocked by how severe this actually gets. The neurological symptoms include numbness and tingling in your hands and feet, difficulty maintaining your balance, like you're suddenly, inexplicably clumsy all the time, depression, and severe confusion, memory problems. This tiny little vitamin deficiency can literally mimic terrifying cognitive decline and cause serious nerve damage. Your brain basically starts misfiring because its protective coating is just degrading away.
And right here is the absolute most dramatic, crucial point of this whole explainer. Neurological symptoms can appear even without anemia. Let that sink in for a second. You could go to the doctor, get your blood checked, and your red blood cells might look completely fine. No anemia at all. But meanwhile, your nerves are taking serious, potentially lasting damage in the background. This is exactly why B12 deficiency gets missed or misdiagnosed for so long. It is incredibly sneaky.
Section 3. Filling the tank. How to get enough B12.
Okay, enough doom and gloom. Let's pivot to the actionable stuff. How much of this miracle molecule do we actually need? For standard teens and adults, you need about 2.4 micrograms per day. It bumps up slightly to 2.6 if you're pregnant and 2.8 if you're breastfeeding. And interestingly enough, even infants need a tiny bit, and they can develop severe deficiencies within just months if their mother's intake is too low. But 2.4 micrograms, that is the magic number for most of us. So where exactly do you get your 2.4 micrograms? Well, the top tier sources are clams, oysters, and beef liver. Now I know, if slurping down oysters and liver isn't exactly your daily vibe, please do not panic. Regular fish, meat, poultry, eggs, and a glass of milk do the job perfectly well. Just remember, if you're plant-based, you really need to check those nutrition labels for fortified foods, because natural plant foods just won't cut it here. And speaking of supplements, let's look at the facts and cut right through the noise. You are going to see a million fancy bottles at the store. The most common form is cyanocobalamin, but there are others, including those sublingual ones you melt under your tongue. But here's the secret the fancy supplement companies really do not want you to know. Research shows all forms of B12 absorb equally well. The form literally does not matter at all. So please don't fall for the expensive marketing hype. Keep it simple.
Section 4. The safety check. Can you take too much?
I totally know what you're thinking right now. Stickman, if this stuff gives me endless energy and protects my brain, I am just going to take 1 million micrograms a day. Well, let out a massive sigh of relief with me right now. Because vitamin B12 is highly safe, with absolutely no established upper limit. It is literally one of the safest vitamins out there to supplement. And why exactly is it so safe? Because your body simply flushes out the excess. B12 is water-soluble, so even if you take one of those massive 500 or 1,000 microgram megadoses you see sitting at the pharmacy, your body just absorbs the tiny percentage it actually needs, and you just pee out the rest. It is essentially foolproof. Now, of course, I do have to give you the responsible safety caveat here. Always talk to a doctor before starting any supplement, especially if you're already on medication. This is really just to make sure it won't interact with any other treatments you're on, or honestly, to see if you need an actual blood test to officially check your levels. It's just common sense, folks.
So, let's bring it all back to the very beginning. Are you still feeling utterly exhausted? Because I am definitely not. I am buzzing, I am bouncing off the walls, I am fully energized and ready to go. If you are still dragging your feet, stop ignoring the red flags. Take a good look at your diet, check your B12 levels, and get your spark back. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and I will catch you energized and ready next time.